What is going on, friends? I'm super pumped. I've got my buddy Kyle Karges here today. Kyle and I have known each other through Sub 2, but we got to know each other a little bit more intimately when we joined Owners Club last year. And every time we see each other, we don't have enough time to connect. We're always like, oh my God, we got to get together. Every time I come to your neck of the woods, I say I'm going to make time and I don't. I'm going to real soon. But in the meantime, I've got you on my podcast, Keeping It 100, and I'm super excited to have you here today. So thank you. Appreciate you.
Oh my gosh, it's an absolute honor to be here. You are one of my favorite people in Owners Club. I'm here at Owners Club. We're about to go to California, and I'm like, what do I get to do over there? I'm gonna learn. I get to hang out with Tracy.
You're a
You know,
dog. It's the best part of any in-person opportunities is just hanging out with our friends. It's so hard to, we're all over the place. Last week, we're in June right now of 2025, so whenever you're watching this, but a week ago in early June, I flew to Florida and did a couple meetups just because I was like, I gotta go see people. I'm so tired of being in my little office. Guys, if
Yeah.
you could see, it really is no bigger than what you see right here. This is it every day.
It's the world. Yeah,
It's the
right,
world.
right here. I got this back, and mine's a little bit bigger because I have this. Plus, I have in the same room, I have my podcast studio built
Yeah,
in. But I see a lot of this.
yeah, for sure. So anyway, Kyle, I brought you on because as my listeners know, I love to talk about the processes of what gets us here and provide some inspiration and motivation because the work is hard, right? We are hustling, we're working long hours, we're working alone often, and it's sometimes really hard. People get stuck, and you're a great inspiration. You have come such a long way. You do a lot. And you're always positive. That's one of my favorite things about you is that you've always got the smile, you're always positive. You can see the upside even of the challenging parts. So, could you share with us, first of all, a little bit about what you do? Because you do a lot.
Mhm.
And then maybe talk to us about one of your most exciting projects that you're working on right now.
Cool. So I've been in real estate for a long time, about 17 years. I've done a lot of stuff. I have had successes and I have made mistakes. When I was in, but I was kind of a weird kid. I found Rich Dad Poor Dad back in like junior high.
Oh,
And I wasn't a weirdo. I still had a great time. High school was so much fun. Yet I hated reading, but I found out I needed personal progress, right? I needed a growth mindset. So got me started early on that. And I'm always feeling grateful and blessed for doing that. But what
right,
it's allowed me to do is more time has allowed me to make decisions, try new things, learn, and grow from my mistakes, right? So when I started to do just long-term rentals, and I would buy it as my primary, turn into a rental, buy the next one, and then etc. until I realized that was going to take way too long, right?
yeah,
So had to sell a bunch of them to capitalize, got into fix and flip. I still fix and flip now,
yeah.
right? So we fix and flip a bunch of houses, but we do it mostly in Phoenix, Arizona.
Which
Okay,
is where
so
you're at, correct?
which is where I'm at, right?
Yep.
So we do a bunch of that here. Always looking to keep growing in that. I'm looking for more deals right now, just because that's the name of that game, right? Fix and flip. It's like new ones,
Yeah,
and
you
before
got
5, 6 months later, it's gone, right?
it.
So you got to keep that flow going. So we keep doing that, and I've learned a ton, right? I would say made that's where we really started making some money. It was fix and flip, and that went really well. We have gone through some growing pains though.
Yeah, I was
One,
going to ask you because a lot of fix and flippers there, it just takes one little mistake and it can really cost you the whole deal. So,
oh, it could cost you the whole deal, and it can do all
and then
sorts
some.
of stuff. So made mistakes. I remember my first deal was a $50,000 condo in Phoenix, and $50,000 condo. I came in, paid all cash for it,
Oh, of course you did. That's right.
right? Because I didn't do. Oh my gosh, I wasn't doing hard money. I wasn't
Right.
doing private money. I wasn't doing
Right.
anything. It was all me for most of my career. It was like I'm not. I had my people, the contractor that I would call it, right?
Wow.
So I had a lot of growing pains to going from paying cash for everything to then learning how to use hard money. And then when you go from one house to two to three to five, we got as big as doing about 20 flips at one time. Um,
What?
from just purchased to
Yeah.
still on the MLS but hasn't
Okay.
quite sold yet.
That's a
So it
lot.
was like 20, right? I don't like to be that big, but it's so we grew up, made a lot of money that way. I would say one of my biggest challenges was theft. actually at that time because as
Really?
I grew, I had to hire people. I had to grow, but I had a contractor that worked with me for 7 years and ended up stealing hundreds of thousands of dollars from me
Wow.
because I let him get to it was in a moment when you're doing 20,
Yeah.
right? Now he wasn't doing all 20, and we've adjusted how we function, but he had more than normal. Most of the time I have him do four houses, maybe a fifth house, but we literally were under contract for like three of his houses or four of his houses that were going to close within the month.
Oh, wow.
And so I had just bought several more
More.
and he was going to be ordering supplies and all of that. Right. So I gave him a bunch of money to start up three or four more
Right.
houses.
Yeah.
And so he all of a sudden got this big influx of money and still had a bunch of money. And all of a sudden he's like, "Hey, I'm out of money." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" So big problem, right? So had to get through that, right? So
How do you do that? That's huge, right? And we hear people private money lending lose 100, $200,000, flippers happens all the time.
mhm.
How do you get beyond that and actually keep wanting to do the thing?
So you get back to work because I've had experience like that. I've had another experience where, like, let's say I haven't had a lot of lawsuits, right? But I remember one, or no, well, I've had some, but like, I could go out and sue this guy,
Sure.
but he
Yeah.
has no money.
Right. What's the point?
Right. No point whatsoever. So I could go spend money and time and try to go after and try to squeeze something.
Yeah.
Right. But I will be able to make so much more money faster by just putting my head down and getting to work.
Yeah.
So I actually take it as a blessing. And I know it's hard to look at it
Love
that way
that.
sometimes, but luckily I had other smaller failures along the way that taught me the same lesson. And I'm
Yeah.
like, get back to work.
Yep.
The answer was always work harder and smarter,
Yep.
right? Get rid of your laziness, all of that stuff.
Yep.
I slowly just tweaked and tweaked until when then I'm like, yep, my wife was very upset.
Of course.
And she's had a hard time with it. But let's go make
Yeah.
some more money. So that's
I
how
love
we
hearing
dealt
you
with
say
it.
that. So that's such great advice for folks listening. It's really hard to let that stuff go, especially if you're just getting started and that might even be your nest egg. But that is the best advice. You can't dwell on it. I see people, I was in private money space for 2 years and that's all I did. So I saw a lot of people where loans went bad. They
Mhm.
would spend so much time and so much money to get nothing, right? Because the people
Yes.
didn't even have anything. And often the property wasn't even worth what they were, whole thing. And I'm like, no, while instead of that, just get back to work. You'll make more money, I guarantee you. But it's hard to get to that place. So I
Oh
really
my
appreciate you
gosh.
bringing that
Yes.
up.
Yes, you nailed it. Because
Yeah.
it's like on flip, right? A lot of times I'm targeting $50,000, right? And it's like just go do it. And here's the other part of it that's important is the mental strength of when you're taking action, you're gaining momentum as well.
Mm,
It's not just a dollar financial equation where it's like, I got to go make this 50 and then that 50 and to get to equal out zero,
yes,
right? It was okay. If I go try to sue or whatever, like that's negative energy that will literally pull me down, slow me down, and probably make me lose another couple 100,000.
100%. That's another great point. We do forget about that mental drain and how it really affects you. 100%. That's why it's so important I think, as you're building, you're growing your company, your team, making sure that everyone has the right fit, the right seat in the company, doing the things that they love because we're still growing and there's still little pieces that we're all having to do that we don't love. And before we
Yep.
were getting on here, I was in Canva doing a thing and I was like, oh, I cannot wait till I am not ever in Canva.
Yeah.
I'm reading an operating agreement and in Canva. I don't love those things. Am I good at them? I am. So that's where I've got to hang for another minute. But because that drain is just, it's a thing. It's a real thing.
Yep. And it'll stop you. I promise whoever's listening right now, that's what they want to hear. Grab that. And I think I had a lucky, I would say, past when my previous job. So I was in sales from when I was 16 years old.
Oh,
I
wow.
went and got a job. Was it Montgomery Wards and then Sears and then sales though. It was all sales. I went through all the different departments at Sears and then I sold for banks. I sold for all furniture. I went in sales. The thing about sales, so if anyone wants a hack, right, or a tip, You got to learn part of sales. Yes, you need to learn how to communicate with people. You need to learn all these sales tricks. They think that's it's a skill set for sure. However, some of the biggest benefit I got out of being in sales was my reset mindset because every day, every week, every month, my numbers would reset.
Wow. Never even thought of it like that. Wow.
Yes. It didn't matter that I sold more furniture, whatever. I always had to break it down. How much did I make the month this week? But every day I woke up, it doesn't matter what I did yesterday. If I don't do more today, I made no money today.
Yes.
And that was I just got into sales at that time and I've been in it ever since. And so if someone's like, I want to get into real estate or they want to take it to the next level, sometimes it's, hey, go grab a sales job even in real estate with the
Yeah.
team and be like, yes, I need to go work for my pay every day.
Single day. Right. That's a really great perspective. Similarly, I set daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, yearly goals,
Mm-hmm.
financial, spiritually, mentally, all of the above, right? And I never thought of it as a reset, but that is what I'm doing. I think every morning when I'm getting up and I'm doing my little pieces, which part of that is resetting myself for the day and getting clear on today and not dwelling on what I didn't do yesterday. I reflect on it, right? What were you doing? Who didn't do these things? What were you doing?
Yes.
Oh, I catch myself chit-chatting too long with somebody or whatever the case may be, but it helps me get back on track. Like here, but like you said, if I don't hit those goals, how are you going to grow? You're not, right?
None of it
Wow.
matters. So that's the two parts. It's a balance, accountability, but for a very specific amount of time, and then it's reset. So you can keep that ball moving, right?
Yes.
Move it forward and actually make progress. Because if you reset too hard, some people struggle with. People will complain about sales to a certain degree about that reset
Mm,
because they'll say, because I have to reset, I don't feel like I'm making progress. So there is a balance, right? Where
yeah.
what I love about what you said was it's setting your daily goal though goes into your weekly goal, which goes into your yearly and your et cetera.
Yeah.
So every day you do keep track and you see your progress, but yet you do need the reset as well.
Wow. I just learned that. That is great. I'm going to really, that helps my mindset shift a little bit on that, calling it a reset, because it is. And it
Yep,
helps you,
absolutely.
it does help you. There's that balance again of what did I miss yesterday? Where was I off my mark? Or maybe I was fully on my mark and then above, right? And then it's like, nice job. Let's do that one again. But a lot
Yes.
of times I'm off my mark a little bit. And that's how I learn and grow, right? Is like, oh, what did yesterday look like? But not dwelling on it. You can't get stuck in that balance. So fix and flipping.
Yep.
But
I
yeah,
also do. So we did a bunch of Airbnbs. We've gotten out of that mostly,
yeah,
almost all the way. Same kind of thing, just market shifting, right? So we
yeah,
sold right now. I think maybe even no Airbnbs at the moment, but we'll do that midterm, right? So we've done the different styles. Right now, our biggest two things are still doing the fix and flip and then
yep,
doing co-living, right? I know
yeah,
you do a bunch of co-living, rent by the room. So a couple of our deals lately, right? I just bought a house in New Mexico.
love it.
Never been there, but to set the stage for this
Yeah,
part real quick is and link a little bit of what we were just talking about. So I have a series called More Into Millionaire on my YouTube channel, which is
love it.
taking somebody else from zero to hero, and he's never owned real estate before, etc. He was my YouTube specialist, and so we've been shooting those, teaching him all the basics. And this was his first property of
Love it.
getting under contract. But wait,
So
there's
excited.
more. It's
Okay.
so cool. So he's been working his butt off. Obviously, tweaks along the way, which
Yep.
everyone listening probably has done the same. So he's going to be getting a wholesale fee, right?
Yeah.
A share of the whole of a wholesale fee, except for I'm the buyer. So he's getting that. That's his first deal. Guess what? I talked to him. He had money saved up. He is turning it into a duo and being he is the lender on the deal as well.
Baby.
So part of your reset is you reset as in you have to go out and earn it all again, but you keep your mo from the day before and you let anything negative go.
Yes.
So with him, I talked to him about on the lending side. We have videos that we shared about this. And I'm like, I I didn't push him very hard, but I internally I wanted him to do it so badly because I'm like, not
Mhm.
just you don't want one deal. I need you to get two deals to get that money going, right?
Yep.
And we closed on that house on Friday. We drove to New Mexico. I had him go too. We shot a bunch of YouTube content, right? We're back here and it's already Wednesday. I just sent out an option contract that I should have signed back today. And I just got a signed contract back for his third deal today here in Phoenix, doing another co living.
Yes.
So his confidence level is sky
Through the
high.
roof. Yes.
So he has to, that momentum, it's so
So
important
important.
to be like, yes, I'm doing this. And so I think that's a great example of he gets the reset every day. I don't care what you did before. Get on that darn phone for a full hour and make calls,
Yep.
right? So he is resetting, but he's carrying that momentum with him.
It's so, so, so important. Even for those of us that are experienced, it's so true. 2 weeks ago, we closed 3 deals in 3 days, right? And it is that once that momentum is going, it's really helpful because it just gives you that positivity. You're getting the good endorphins are going, especially as you're getting that wire come into your bank. You're like, baby. But I see people pause and they're like, cool, I did the thing. I just made 30 grand this week. That's cool. And it's like, it is cool and get back at it because the second our brain is not as it doesn't retain as much as you we wish sometimes of the good feeling. I think, right?
Yes.
Because as soon as let's say you take the week off, you're like, killer, I just made 30 grand this week. I'm taking the week off. Monday morning rolls around, that those endorphins of that 30 grand hit in your bank account are long gone, right? And you probably spent a good chunk of that on your days off, scrolling on whatever
Yep.
you're on. And so you've lost that moment, right? And now you're on the phones for the hour and you've got hung up on and you're told to F off and all the things. And you're like, oh man, this is hard. No, for me, man, that 30 grand hits the bank and I am on the phone. I'm like, I want to
Yeah.
keep this coming. So I really appreciate that you said that. And that's so important, guys. If you're feeling like you're stuck, you got to keep at it. You got to do the reset. The reset's huge. Every day is a new day. And I learn from my mistakes, but you cannot dwell on them. You got to take responsibility for your mistakes and you got to go, all right on. Yep, I'm going to try to not do that one again and just move on and get back into it.
Yep. And forgive yourself. You
No,
have to
that's
forgive
such a good point.
yourself. You can be your biggest critic, right? Like they say. And so it's so important. I think also by going and doing that sales job and being who I am and being positive, I know I've had small bits of it, but I know some people are just so brutal on themselves. And so it's a
Yeah.
skill. Everything's a skill.
Everything is such a skill. And a lot of us came from, I'm in my 50s, right? I grew up in that generation. And I think even people in their 40s, where it was like, it was totally normal in my home for my family, a parent to call me an idiot, a moron, just to degrade
Mhm.
you. That was like, my grandpa was in the military. It was like,
Yeah.
like just the norm,
All good.
all the stuff, right? So sure, you could sink into that. You could let that ruin your life, or you could just say, forget about that. I'm going to learn how to not let that bother me. And there's plenty of people in social media that will tell me all day long what a loser I am. So I cannot be the person that also tells myself that. There's plenty of other people to do that job for me. I don't let those people bother me. I don't, those people have a great day. What's super cool is I've actually learned how to take that feedback and actually turn around and do meditation and mindfulness exercises where I'm bringing empathy to them because the reality is I'm really sad for you. You're so unhappy that you're picking on me and that sucks for you because you're a grown ass adult. They need it. They need someone to love them. So I love that you're moving more into co-living because
Yep.
that's my jam. I love it. Can you share with us a little bit about, I know you well enough to know that it's not just about the money. So share
Mhm.
with us a little bit about the ethical part of co-living that I know is probably part of your journey as well.
So it's very important that everything's a, I know people say this, but a win-win scenario, right? So it's
For sure.
upfront when you buy the properties, and then it's how you run the co-living as well,
Yep.
right? So the deal right now that I just got the contract back today, it's in Phoenix. Believe it or not, it's a brother of a friend that I knew from high school.
What a small world.
Weird,
I love it. So
weird,
crazy.
right? And I wasn't even the one that found it, right? This is this
Oh,
third
this
deal,
wasn't
right?
someone brought it to you, or you went and reached out to him. Someone brought this to you.
So that, well, so
Oh,
this one of the more on the millionaire leads, right?
for
So
that.
this is his third deal. So he's the one that called it, set up the appointment with the agent, right? And then
Oh,
just during conversation, we found out it was like this little brother. I'm like, oh, that's awesome. And so such good people
mm.
and moving across the country, etc. And here's the thing. So on the front end, I'm like, oh, you know what? I want to help. How do we structure this? And they everything went really well, but things were so tight that actually ended up going with a wholesaler instead that offered them more money than me and go under contract with them. And unfortunately, that didn't go well because when you offer too much money,
I was gonna say, because the numbers, guys, listen to this. The numbers are the numbers. You can force them and try to make them work.
mhm,
They either work or they don't. Numbers don't lie. So I appreciate that. I see it all the time. People are like, well, if I think I can do this and maybe not that. Nope. You need your SOPs on how you do your underwriting, and you can't veer from that. So
yes,
it
stick to it.
9.9% of the time, that's exactly what happens.
Yep, and that's exactly. So they failed. Unfortunately, it's a big deal because they didn't have enough money for June's payment. So
Oh,
they've borrowed money from family to make
oh,
June's payment.
yeah.
And so they come back to me and they're like, Kyle, is there any way you could still help? And I'm like, and so like we work it out. And I actually did get a little bit better deal, but like, they're getting money, right? Paid in their pockets. So
Yeah.
they're getting money,
Nice.
right? And they're like, oh my gosh, is this guaranteed, right? I'm like, nothing in life is guaranteed, but I am the actual buyer here, guys.
Yeah.
I'm gonna buy your house.
Yes.
So you got it, no problem. And this is so funny too. So there was that first wholesaler. The part I skipped over though, right before when they reached back out to me, I said, hey, you know what? Let me go look at it real fast. So I drive over, I go walk the property, and I get back. I get another call from a different wholesaler, calls me about that house,
Oh, yeah. Been
right?
there, done.
And
I've
they're
had
like,
that
"Oh, I know
happen.
you're doing co-living. Will this one work?" I was like, "I just walked it. They already have my offer. I'm actually gonna probably buy it tonight."
I love it. Yes. I've had that happen a couple of times and it's just hysterical. And if you're watching this and you're a wholesaler, more power to you. And you don't have it under contract. It's such a, I don't know. Anyway, that's a whole
Yeah,
different
you got to get under contract, but at the same
yeah,
time, and get your numbers right. To your point,
numbers right.
and they're like, "Oh, if they're calling you," and so I was able to tell the agent, I'm like, "Oh, did you just talk to so and so?" And they're like, "They've already called me like this. I told you, I'm the end buyer from a lot of these people." It's just so funny. But at the end of the day, getting them exactly what they want. We're gonna lock this up and get this closed, and it's super cool because it's gonna be a high quality house is 1,800 square feet with a carport that I can put two bedrooms in. So it's going to end
Ooh,
up with
sweet.
an 8 to 9 bedroom house.
Love it.
Okay, 3 bath, right?
Nice. Nice.
So
Yep.
I
That's what we
try to
want.
get, sometimes there's two if it's only 8, but I try to get that extra third in
Yeah.
there to give people an even higher quality stay.
Um,
But we go through and we remodel. So this will be such a nice home, right? And I'm looking for, I love doing this because when I had my long term rentals and especially Airbnbs, it was nothing but a problem with Airbnb.
yeah.
And I didn't feel like I was helping anybody, right? My
Yeah.
long term rentals, eh, you didn't ever talk to them and you didn't ever see and know what's going on. And honestly, I don't know. Sometimes I just didn't feel like they were that grateful. But in co-living, it's so cool because the people that you're bringing in are extremely grateful.
Right.
You're providing a product at such an affordable rate where I'm like, are you kidding me? I can make good money. I can feel good about adding this affordable housing into the marketplace. And they're like, "Oh, Kyle, you're amazing. This place is wonderful." So, David Ross was in
Yeah.
town.
I saw you sent me
Okay.
a picture last week. I
Oh,
love
that's right. I went
great
to
guy.
his co-living. I
Yeah.
went to visit him at his co-living. Oh my gosh, one of his tenants, he told them that he was coming. And while he's there, one of the tenants came out and brought this box of goodies and put it on the counter. Like, hey, these are free and open to anyone who wants them. That is so cool. And that's just the cool, fun environment that you.
You want to create. I love that. Guys, if you don't know, if you're watching, you don't know David Ross, please, you can find him on social media. Great guy, also into co-living, big heart, super just lovely human. I would say that's exactly it is other than I have a multi-generational property in Hawaii, and
Mhm.
that family is beyond grateful. It's the patriarch, the father figure of the whole family. He cried when we presented the opportunity for his family because he said, "This is a dream. My
Oh,
sister,
yes.
my brother, our auntie, my mom, all the kids." And it's a beautiful big home. It's actually on the beach. And we rent it to them barely at market rent. And we make good money off of it.
Right.
When we've had people, they criticize us. And it's funny how that is. I've had several investors go, that's ridiculous. You're just wasting an asset. You could make three times that much putting it on. And they're right. I could put it on. I own it with other partners. We could turn it into short-term rental. We could
Hmm.
probably triple our monthly revenue. It would be a nightmare because short-term rentals suck. Everybody is
Yep.
complaint after complaint. But putting that aside, there's nothing that makes me feel good about that. But when my tenants from this property, I have other tenants, I have a couple, they live in a tiny little studio with their daughter, again in Hawaii, where rents are astronomical. I rent it to them. It just covers, I don't even cash flow, it covers my expenses because they were going to be homeless. They're two
Mm.
teachers. I went there to help them move. The dad's crying, the mom's crying. My gosh, how blessed am I? Same with you,
Yes.
that we have the capacity to own these pieces of real estate that we can choose to help people or to just profit. And to know that we're making a difference in people's lives, there's nothing like that.
Oh, why can't you have both, right? Why
Yeah.
can't you have both? And it's not like our single families don't, but I've just found that co-living just tends to be a
Yeah.
little more grateful. But
Yeah.
anyone that's grateful, I will pass on extra money too. I'm like, I just that is such a good home for that family. They're
Mm,
thriving in that space, and I want the best for them,
that's right. Right.
right?
In our co-living, and I know it's the same for you, most of our tenants members in co-living are the people that serve us every day. They're the people that make my coffee if I go to Starbucks. They're ringing me up at the grocery store. When I'm
Mhm.
buying materials, they're the people at the construction counter at Home Depot. I was a teacher for 25 years. When I first became a single parent, I couldn't find anywhere that I could afford to live with my daughter. We lived in California. It's expensive to live there. The teacher salary does not meet, in most places in our country, a blue collar worker,
Yep.
their salary does not meet the minimum requirement to be able to rent a home that fits their family. Yeah. To me, it's a real estate investor, you've got to find that balance. Like, we need to feel grateful that we have the skill set to get into all this real estate. Most people can't figure out how to own 10, 20, 50 doors. Like, it's a lot of work.
Right.
Don't get me wrong. Like, not easy. It's a lot of work overseeing and managing a lot of assets. And anyway, I love that we're on the same boat with that. I know that we are, and
Yeah.
I appreciate you sharing that. Um, at that point, for people that are growing and building their real estate business, can you talk a little bit about that growth? Because it's really hard, and it is hard to go from I own one or two rentals to now I own five, and now I own 10, and now I own 15, and maybe I even have partners on some, and those are relationships that you're managing. How did you kind of all of that?
So I would say looking back, the number one thing is you have to fight your internal, there's an internal hold, right, on you, right? Now, and part of that is to keep you safe, okay? Like built with that to keep us alive and
Yeah,
survive, alive.
right, right.
Um, that doesn't just go away just because something's logical and is the right move. So you have, by realizing that that is inside of you and that it's your job to pull that curtain, right? To pull it away and to remove it when it's the right decision. Okay. Best that you can. You're never, now, when I say right decision, that does not mean it's going to stare at you and be like, this one's amazing. There is no way you can lose money,
Right.
right? Buy this deal.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen. Okay. You're like, okay, quick. I go, what's worst case scenario? Got it. What's my best case scenario? What's the most likely? Okay. And I ask myself, have I been uncomfortable enough recently? Okay.
Question.
I say no. And I'll do this from like events. I'll do this from, one thing I might go do like, comedy clubs, they do the stand up. You can
Yeah.
pay for classes, right?
Oh yeah.
So that kind of freaks me out.
I love
Okay.
it.
But I'm like, not so much to just getting in front of people, but like, I don't know, maybe I'm not that funny, right? Like in my head, I
Feeling
can't
you're
hold,
actually pretty funny, Kyle.
but
At least in
you
your
know
head.
where I struggle is my brain does not hold on to information it feels is irrelevant.
Yes.
Okay. So growing up, I had a really hard time with actors and actresses because that was information would not help me.
Yep.
Okay. Like that's not important. So
Yeah.
those games, Cranium, all those games where it's like, do you know this weird fact? I'm like, no
No
idea.
clue. I'm like you.
Okay.
Exactly the
At
same way.
all. I hate those games.
Yeah, me too.
Okay. With that said, I'm to just go do this and like, because it would make me extremely uncomfortable.
Yep.
I could figure it out. So that's probably something I'm going to do soon. But if I ask myself about all this stuff, so everyone should ask themselves, if you've only bought one property, I don't care actually where you stopped, whatever the next level is, you ask yourself, how long has it been since I felt uncomfortable in this pathway? Okay.
Love that.
If it's been too long, it should be as short as possible.
Yeah.
Okay. Not, oh, it's been 3 months. Even 30 days sometimes is like
No, right.
long.
Yeah.
On a daily basis, you should be making yourself feel uncomfortable.
Agreed.
Okay. I'm like,
Agreed.
okay, you know what? I haven't bought another flip and I haven't felt uncomfortable. I need to go find another flip, like worst
Yep.
case tomorrow. I'm going to find one in the next 2 days.
Yep.
Boom. Will.
Yep.
And you commit yourself, you put your restrictions and your limitations, but you tell yourself the moment it fits these boxes, the answer is yes.
I love that you just said that. The moment it fits these boxes, I think that's where people get themselves caught up. You said something else, I think that relates to this as well. You said the best that I can do, I forget exactly how you said it, like the information you have. And
Mhm.
guys, that to me is so key. You have people, and I'm sure you get this too. You just don't know, like you help me look at this, and it's like, look, I've been underwriting co-living. That's all I've done for over a year. And I underwrite many deals every day, guys. But a year ago, when I first started and I first bought my first co-living, I had no idea really what I was doing. But I was confident in myself that I was doing my best. I created a checklist for myself and exactly what you said. If it fit that, I had to believe in myself. I had to say, Tracy, you took the time to learn this thing. Now, are you as good as Kyle at underwriting co-living? No, but you know what you're doing with the information you have, and you've worked hard to get here. You just have to trust yourself, and you got to take the leap of faith. And I am still as uncomfortable today buying a piece of real estate as I was 5 years ago. Actually, 1999 was when I bought my very first piece of real estate. I'm as uncomfortable today as I was then. And it's because the assets are bigger, they're more unique, they're more complicated. So they've grown and changed with my growth, but I'm still scared to death.
Yeah. The feeling doesn't go away.
No.
It because if you're doing it right, you will grow with your challenges.
Yeah.
We grew from, hey, only buying in Phoenix to where now we buy in 8 different states,
Right.
right?
You're in New Mexico, you're like, I've never been there to
No.
Albuquerque.
And very similar to that, I own property in Memphis, Tennessee.
Yeah.
Been there before either.
Yeah.
Okay. It's like, how do you buy something out of state? You've never been there. How can you have the confidence to actually buy it? And in some people's book, right? Memphis being a little more rough in some areas,
Sure.
right? And it's like, how do you prevent all that? And you get yourself to pull the trigger? And you got it. Create your check boxes. That's it. Create your check boxes and then commit to yourself. The moment something checks all the boxes, the answer is yes. The you don't do is, well, when I find something that checks all the boxes, then I'm going to think about it.
Nope.
Or then I'll run this by Tracy and see what she thinks about it.
Right.
No,
Nope.
here's the check boxes. When it does, the answer is yes. Now, if you want to ask Tracy to look at something while you're already putting earnest money down and it's moving forward and you're trying to build a relationship and you want to verify and maybe come in on the deal with you or something, that.
Right. Right.
But do not pull that trigger.
100%. Because guys, your brain, your body, your cellular literally at a cellular level recognizes when you don't trust yourself. There's a difference between like, I can't believe I'm like, oh, to, ooh, I don't know, Tracy, like, are you sure? Those are two different things. The feeling of like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm doing this again is different than the doubting yourself. And your body remembers that. And the second you start doubting yourself, you're done for.
Well,
Is, I'll share a really quick story. Our business partners along with Kaipo. When Dustin and I first partnered together and we came up kind of a vision, and you love that guy too. He's just the best. He was wholesaling, I was doing private money lending. We're building out this vision. We had created essentially a checklist of like when these things come into play, we're done with these two gigs. You're kicking the curb to wholesaling, and I'm done being a private money lender as a business, right? Well, that day came, and I'll never forget. We sat on a Zoom and we're like, it's go time, baby. And we both turned to our whiteboards. We took we had our goals up there. We took our erasers, and he erased the wholesaling goal, and I erased the private money. And I was like, bro, I believe in me and I believe in you. And if you believe in you believe in me, we're golden. And we did. And that was it. And from that, I kid you not, from that moment, it was like gangbusters because we believed in ourselves. We created a checklist and we did not hesitate when we hit that mark. And it's like, and that really told us internally on a real deep level that we trust each other, we trust ourselves. And that's what you need. You have to trust yourself, guys. It's like, gonna
you
make
got me all pumped
mistakes.
up.
You're,
You
you're
got me
gonna
all pumped up.
you're gonna make mistakes. You have to make mistakes. You want to make mistakes because you can't grow. But like you said earlier on, you just got to own up to your mistakes. I make them every day. Super sassy. People that know me well, like sassy. I get fired up. I'll be on our team calls and I'm like, rah. And I have to get off some days and I'm like, I'm sorry, you guys. Like, God, I'm fired up right now. I'm gonna just take a breath and like, you gotta just, you gotta. We wrap it up. I
Yeah.
want to touch on one other thing you mentioned that I think is gonna help people.
Okay.
You talked about working with an agent. I buy a lot of deals from agents. I love agents. I have no problem working with them. I love on market real estate. I get so many people that reach out to me and they go, he tells me I shouldn't work with an agent. Agents, shouldn't waste my time on these deals with agents. Can you just share your feedback on that?
Mm. First off, the very first thing that comes to my mind when I hear someone like, people are telling me I shouldn't work with agents, those people telling you that are people that have not done deals,
Bingo.
period.
Right?
Because there are deals with agents, there are deals without agents. There are so many deals,
Hmm.
right? I do both.
Yep.
Okay. I love working with agents, right? They can really help a seller. Sometimes they're absolutely necessary for that seller to feel
Yep.
comfortable, right? And some people, they need that intermediary, right? In there. Other times, no. And that's totally fine. It's just on my end, it's just all about the numbers.
Yep.
It just has to make sense. But then I'm like, okay, I can have more friends in this business,
Yeah.
right? So just remember my 2 cents on it is anytime someone tells you tells you something, it's coming through their filter, their vision, and they are responding as if they were you, what they would do,
Yeah.
right? Oh, I wouldn't work with agents. Oh, got it. So you either maybe don't have a good personality with agents, you have a hard time respecting agents,
Yep.
maybe you're not a hard enough worker.
Maybe
I
you like
don't
to
know
shoot
what it is.
yourself in the foot every day. I don't know.
It could be all sorts of things. But that's what they're saying. Okay? Right? And check, and I say this to my wife all the time. Check the source.
Yes.
Okay. I'm talking to Tracy, right? If I'm talking to you, I'm like, she's done a bunch of co-living, she's done this, right? If she tells me something about co-living, I don't care if I'm doing co-living. I'm like, oh, I'm checking my source. And I'm
That's
like,
right.
yep, that's a great idea. I'm going to see if I should add that into my co-living.
Yeah.
If someone else that has never done co-living told me to do something, it might still be a data point, but it's a little bit hazy.
Yeah. You're gonna right. Check your sources.
I'm
Agreed.
checking my source. So
Yeah.
that's my thing is, and wrap this back to, we talked about with John on my More on the Millionaire that you've talked about with, trying to get to the next level. It's get around people that are successful and doing what you want to do.
Yeah.
One, then you've already checked your source. All the information you're getting is accurate,
Yep.
right? You're more likely to be in an environment where you can get your reset every day,
Yep.
right? And you're going to get that extra motivation and be like John, like I said, go get the one deal, two deal, three deal. I want to get John to five, six deals as
Totally.
fast as I possibly can.
Yeah.
See him go.
And he's going to be off. Such great advice, Kyle Karges. I love it. This has been really fun conversations. People, what's it that you're looking for? Do you need capital? Do you need more deal flow? What are the things that people watching this can bring to support you? And then what are some of the things that you have available? So like your podcast and so forth. Share a little bit of that with us.
Sure. So, yeah, if someone wants to reach out, they can find me on Instagram, which would be just at the Kyle Karges. Okay. It's just Kyle Karges.
Love
And
it.
that's where we have all those series, and we have quite a few videos. Um, that's the best way to reach out to me.
Yeah. Guys, I want to say that, yeah, YouTube, by the way, is off the charts. So there's like you want to know about real estate, you could find in Kyle's. I haven't watched your More in a Millionaire. I'm going to definitely start hitting that up. I think that's going to be a fantastic series. I see that growing. So,
Yep.
you're just getting started and maybe you want to be a moron. I would definitely reach out.
I love it. I
I
should
love
get
that name.
t-shirts. I should get a t-shirt. I want to be a moron. You
Yes,
know?
I would
Oh,
have
that's
loved
funny.
to have been your moron back in the day.
Oh, I know we all, right? If we all
Yeah.
could have been someone's moron like that, I would have signed up so fast now.
Boom.
Um, so they can reach out to me that way.
Okay.
They could work with me. I mean, just like that deal, that contract I got today, right? I'm gonna need private money lending on that, right? So anyone with funds can always reach out, and a good return that way. Um, I'm looking for more deals, so more co-living, but the cool part
Perfect.
about me too, like also fix and flips in Phoenix, right? So you can
Oh,
bird dog, find me deals, send them to me at deals@cargiscapital.com.
perfect. Deals at
Okay.
cargiscapital.com. Got it.
Yep. And we just hired someone to help with our underwriting to speed up the process.
Nice.
Okay. That way we can underwrite them quickly because we're doing okay. It just we need to bring it to another level where I want everyone getting feedback of here's the deal. This is what you need to do to it. Go back to them and get it at this point, and then I will buy it.
I love that you're sharing that. So, guys, if you are getting started in real estate and you're watching this, I think one of the best ways you can learn is bird dogging for somebody like Kyle who wants to take the time to not just say no or to ignore your email, but to actually look at the deal, have his team underrate it, and give you some feedback. That's how you will grow. Don't get discouraged. You're going to probably send 10, 20 plus deals. They're all going to be a no but or a here's the feedback, but that's how you're going to learn. That's how you're going to
Yep.
learn. And don't give up, but find people, work with Kyle or find people like Kyle that are willing to take the time to give you the feedback. And not everybody has the capacity to do that. So they're not assholes. They just don't have the time. So if you're bird dogging, figure out, oh yeah, people just don't even get back to me. Great. Don't send them any deals. Don't waste your time. find the people that do. I love that you take the time to do
Yeah.
that.
And you said earlier the whole learn and earn thing. That's how you're doing that,
Yeah.
right? You talked about earlier with the underwriting part, right? But it's, yeah, send it in. You're doing work now. You're not just looking at these properties and underwriting them and trying to figure out if there are deals. Just go find someone else's deal. Send it to me. I will send my team will send feedback back. Okay, hey, this is why. You're like, cool, I'm dialing this in.
Boom. Yep. That's what I did with private money lending when I got started. I learned so much that way. And I didn't, could have very easily made a lot of mistakes that would have cost me a lot of money had
Yeah,
I not taken the time to do that. So you love it. Wow.
you're
Wow, this
amazing.
has been like bomb today. I love it.
Put me in
So
a room with
much.
someone like you. So what's going to
You're,
happen?
oh boy, you're too kind. So we know how to reach you. You're at the Kyle Karges on Instagram. You're at Kyle Karges on YouTube. Guys, please check out his YouTube channel. It is full of you can see Kyle's such a giver. So you know to just be full of so many great nuggets. Appreciate you so much. I so appreciate your positive attitude. It makes such a difference in everybody's lives. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate you too.
Absolutely. All right, gang, we will see you soon.